And welcome back, everybody, to another week of Beyond the Trailer Park. We are excited to have a good show for this evening. I hope everybody missed us last week. Ashley and I were a little tired, and I was kind of a little hungover, so...
A little?
Hey!
Somebody has pictures to prove that one.
Yes, I know. But...
That's what you do when we all get together and get drunk. You start taking pictures for later.
Yeah, well, somebody sent me a picture of a Miss Ashley passed out on her sofa last night, so,
Oh, yeah.
You didn't see that.
Sometime in the middle of the night, I got up in the middle of the night, grabbed a bag of pretzels, and woke up with Bobby and pretzels.
We'll get into that in a minute. Well, of course, we have Beth joining us from Pennsylvania. I won't ask how you're doing, but...
Let's just say it's been interesting.
Yeah, but she's here. She's coherent.
I'm breathing.
So, yep, this is good. We'll go with it. And, of course, down from lovely Savannah, we have our mouth of the South here, Miss Ashley.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah. Yes, and joining us is the one, the only, Skeptic Cash. How you doing?
I am excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, we're excited to have you here too. It's awesome.
It's like my grandfather of podcasting there, you know.
I know. Well, as I said on the preamble, and I don't know that he saw it, but it said that he's the patriarch of the show, but not the patriarchy. That's some other shit. We'll talk about another time.
Yeah, we'll have to get Vicky back for that.
Exactly. But yeah, so we're just gonna go with the flow tonight and have some fun with Cash the Man. To start with, though, the reason why I was hungover, of course, was last weekend. I was in Savannah and Nashville with Miss Ashley, and we went to see NanoCon, the Nashville Nuns Convention, which was a hell of a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I had a lot of fun. It reminded me of the first year of ReasonCon is what it reminded me of.
Which I didn't get to the first year, but it certainly had the flavor of when I was there too, and it was a lot of fun. And I got to meet some cool people and some people that I didn't even know I'd be meeting, so that was a nice surprise. So, and it was neat. They had workshops in between the speeches, so it was sort of like, how many were there? Like 10, 5,
like 10 workshops, and they each did like an hour, but they did 2 classes, and they did 2 30-minute classes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So now I went to one that talked about how to, because we talk about a lot about what we don't believe, but it was more of a way to help people articulate what they do believe. So that was really a useful one. Patrick, the conference organizer, actually held that workshop, and it was really cool.
Well, I would think that would be a fantastic workshop, because one of the main things I even get in just life is, well, then does that mean you just don't believe in nothing? How do you believe in nothing?
Exactly, yeah. and that's what he was attempting to circumvent, was that whole idea that, well, you must just believe in nothing.
No, I just steer clear from the things that are unproven and unknowable, and go with the stuff like Beth. I know her, I can see her, I love her, and so I believe in her. And yes. So there's one of my questions.
She does. I can attest to that. we've hung out twice now, so, and yeah. Ashley 3 times, and you know we had that whole sleeping in the bed thing together last weekend. But that's a whole other story. Yeah. Yes, Bobby C is going to be bragging all over the internet that he shared a giant bed with 2 hot chicks, but, you know, let's just say there was an awful lot of sleeping going on. But yeah, it was a really neat thing to talk about, because, like you say, so much is like, well, you just don't believe in anything, and that's just a lot of bullshit. Of course. So, and what Patrick did, we talked about things that were important to us as people, and then he helped people kind of turn that into, well, how would you articulate that as something important to you, to someone?
Right.
Sort of like your elevator pitch in a way.
Which I like. It's an excellent opportunity. It's an excellent opportunity to talk to someone and let them know, because most of it's not coming out of anger or hate when I've heard it. You know, they just say, oh, you just don't believe in nothing? Well, no.
Yeah, it's confusion. It's like, well, if it's not God, then what could it possibly be? And so, yeah, it's an educational opportunity.
Yes. Well, a lot of it, too, is you're arguing against a straw man.
Yes.
Right.
Everybody has the perception that, like you said, we believe in nothing. No, we do believe in stuff, but we believe in material things. We believe in science. We believe in the science behind stuff. And it's something I was, talking about earlier. Science rules. That's what it comes down to. And
Absolutely.
I believe in what I can see, what I can touch, what I can feel, what I can hear. I won't say walk, but that's the stuff I believe in.
Yep, absolutely. And then, Ashley, I know you went to Callie's presentation. And you went to Patrick's as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to Patrick's as well, but I went to Callie's first. And, one of the things that I'm learning about is pronouns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which you talked about a bit last night on the show.
Right. And, and one of the things that Callie said is that one of the things that she does to help, people understand and know exactly up front what she wants to be called, she's like, hey, I'm Callie. I prefer this, 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 and this.
Yes.
And it's okay to ask.
Yeah.
Just ask. She's like, you're not going to offend us. We know you don't know. Just ask us. We'll tell you.
Well, how did Ari put it last night? They said that it was basically those that do have a smit fit about you asking are being the assholes.
Right.
Yes, that's exactly what they said. And it's true, because there are assholes in every community, right? So it stands to reason that there's. Yeah, we do. Absolutely.
Okay,
but
so
it was.
You didn't tell me about the assholes in the community when I first met you.
Oh, I honestly didn't know about all of them. I guess when you're when you're one of them, I'm one of the fucking buzzards, and you're asking me to point them out.
No, Kat, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. It's like when I was in my goth days and I used to go clubbing in Toronto, my mother was like, aren't you afraid to be like downtown Toronto at 5 o'clock in the morning? I'm like, no, I'm with the people everyone's scared of. But yeah, it definitely makes a difference. But it was a really rewarding experience, I think, having the opportunity to learn from different people. And there was, Phil Ferguson was doing a workshop, and oh goodness, there was
Ferguson DJ'd.
Yeah, yes, he did. I got to meet Sharon, all the Unbuckling the Bible Belt crew, but Sharon did a talk, which I unfortunately didn't see, but she did a talk about parenting as a secular person with mental illness, which I thought was a really good topic as well, being a parent struggling and not only having mental illness, but as a non-believer as well. So that was cool. And Kate Ashcroft, also Unbuckling, she did one about why voting is so important as an atheist and secular person. And that, she said, she got some college professors in there listening to her talk, because one of the things because we hung out with Kate after, and she said, one of the things people don't realize is that there's a real drive to disenfranchise the youth, because the youth are the ones that want to change things. And
look at what's going on in Ohio right now.
Exactly. So that was really important too. So, and I know I'm missing a bunch of people, but there were a lot of really good talks going on there for sure. And David Silverman had a great time. And the reason I only went to one talk actually is because I actually had an opportunity to hang out with David Silverman for about 45 minutes while everybody else was doing their talk. So I kind of did that instead. So sue me, but he was a lot of fun. And I got myself...
Say why.
Well, because he's gonna come visit us soon. I'll get onto that later because I may have to change up some things because I got called to jury duty next week. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, he was wonderful, gracious, funny. Just a delight to be around, and I got his book, which I'm halfway through, and I was just going to show. Now, those of you listening later, you're going to have to pop on over to YouTube to see this, but he did do that for me. You guys can see that, so that was really cool. He draws Muhammad on all of his signatures, which I think is fucking awesome too. Oh yeah. So
my checks like that.
Yeah, you should. The little smiley face is just Muhammad underneath.
I have stamps for all my money. You know, whether it's $1 or $2 or $5, or I guess there's really not a lot of $2 bills anymore. But I have the stamps in different colors. This says atheist money and stuff like that.
Nice, awesome. See, I can't do that here because we went to Polymer, so it would just wipe off.
Oh.
Yeah, but we don't have the God shit on our money either, so there's that.
So there's nothing, all I'm doing is countering the, in God we trust on the money.
Yeah, I don't really have to do that, thankfully. But, and one other shout out I wanted to give, too. For those of you who are on my Facebook, if you troll my friends list, there's a lovely lady called Jinx Kane over there, and she made my fantastic colander hairband, and I just love it. And I don't have my license renewed for another 4 years, but I'm thinking, they can't really say no to a hair appliance, so we'll see how it plays out. But she has an Etsy store. What are you cackling about?
Because if you were to come to the States and get your license renewed with that on your head...
I fucking will.
They've done it.
I fucking will.
That one guy went to, that girl here in the States went to court. It made it into the Freedom from Religion's paper.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, and actually, and this is really funny because this popped up in our news here. I think Dave Edwards posted a link to it. There's a guy here in Alberta, I want to say. He's trying to get his license wearing an Edmonton Oilers ball cap because hockey is his religion.
Mm-hmm. We had Christopher Schaefer on, who was sworn in with the headwear when he in the Fredonia area of New York. He's a Pastafarian. He's also a Pastafarian minister. So it's gaining. It's Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Is that correct? Is gaining ground in a sense that people are starting to wear the strainers on their head.
Absolutely. So just to finish up about Jinx for a minute, she has an Etsy store and it's called Bindle of Bones, and she sells all kinds of cool Pastafarian and atheist shit on there, so you should really check her out. She had a lot of really cool stuff. She paints, she decorates little guitars, there's all kinds of, she had like little dinosaurs with little tiny colanders on their heads. It was like amazing. So do please check out Miss Jinx. She's also a singer, and she did perform at the after party too, so check her out for that as well because she's a very talented lady and very cool. So there's that. And it was really funny because I didn't know that Jinx was going to be there. I just saw her cool shit on her table. I was like, holy shit, it's Jinx, And her and her friend were like, you said about. Could you say that again? So,
oh, good grief.
I know. And even more funny, there were 3 other Canadians there, believe it or not. And even more ironic, the couple that was there I met previously at ReasonCon, and they're from Sarnia. So I was like, hey, it's you again. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, we had a really fantastic weekend, hanging out with Hugh-Man in the back of the car. That was always fun. Driving to Atlanta and everywhere in between, freaking out people at the restaurants where I went with my badass shit on my shirts. That was fun. Cash, in Savannah when I was there. Where did we go for breakfast? That buffet place.
Oh yeah, we went to
brunch. Where was it?
Western Sizzler.
Western Sizzler. We went to Western Sizzler, and I was wearing a shirt with a picture of the devil on it that said, "God's busy, can I help you?"
I love it.
Bobby was having a good old time. He said it was most entertaining just watching everybody else look at me.
It was cool.
Oh,
we're
wow.
on Cracker Barrel.
We're all sitting there going, she's from Canada.
I know. I said it's gonna be like Corinne and I were talking like that last night, and I said, yeah, that's just gonna be like my American phrase now. I'm from Canada. I'm Canadian. It's okay.
America's the only place that you can come to and get carded for. If you're 80 freaking years old, you'll still get carded in America.
I know, but we were all like, whatever restaurant it was in Nashville that we all went to, and we're all like, she's like, yeah, even if every last one of us was carded. So yeah. I'm like, woo! That's okay.
Well, it's like I went to Wegmans with my dad the last time I was home, and my dad's 87 years old, and he got carded, and I'm like, seriously? I mean, I know it's just store policy that you just card everybody, but it's funny.
It is funny because Bobby's going, oh, you want to card me because you want to see if I'm eligible for the senior citizen discount.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people handle it.
But it was so fantastic to hang out with family and meet new people and kind of add to the family too. So we really enjoyed ourselves for sure. Yeah. Did you have a highlight, Miss Ashley?
I think the highlight was just like hanging out with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
I gotta say that David Silverman did give a good talk, and a good. He was the final speaker of the night, and he did give a good talk, so I enjoyed listening to it.
Yeah. He's very energetic, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, somebody said the other day that he basically yelled his entire presentation. Yes,
he did.
Yeah.
This is why you're supposed to be an atheist. Well, he didn't say this is why you're supposed to be an atheist. But he was, in other words, what he what was the? Well, I don't want to misquote him, but when he was talking about why we should come out as atheists to start the conversation, what I mean, that that, and try to say he wasn't saying you're cowards for not coming out as atheists. He's saying this is how you should do it. Open up the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's working.
It is. Well, and he actually had empirical evidence to prove that it was working, which was cool. Well,
it's funny because when I was in the hospital this past week and they asked me a religion, and I told them that I'm an atheist, and they said, oh, non-religious. I said, no, I'm an atheist. Now, I had gotten David's book about a week before I got the Kindle version because as he was going to be on the show, but things changed, and he's still going to be. I looked at the woman, and I said, no, I'm an atheist. I'm not non-religious. I'm an atheist. And I told her, I said, please put that down as my religious affiliation, and she did. She just kind of looked at me funny. But, part of what he says in his book I agree with. I mean, I understand his point, but I don't 100% agree with him. But you'd have to read it for yourself to understand why. But I think it is important. The more that people come out as atheists, the more progress we make. I mean, look at the fact that we have Johnny Depp coming to Reason Rally.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, how awesome is that? I mean, whether you like him or not, it's Johnny Depp. He's one of the top 10 actors in the world.
Yes.
It's Johnny Depp, and he's going to a Reason Rally.
Exactly. No, and that was one of David's major points, was normalizing it. And a lot of his book, I'm about halfway through the book now, and a lot of it is talking about the different ways that his tactics have all been about normalizing it. And he's like, he's the firebrand, as he says, but he's like, yeah, I'm the in your face and getting all over Bill O'Reilly, and I'm the one with the mean old billboards and stuff. But he says, but what that does is when what he calls the diplomat side comes along, they have it so much easier because people, and let's be honest, I'm a loudmouth fucking firebrand that too. So when somebody like me comes along and I'm like, yep, I got a devil on my shirt.
Blurry all.
Yeah, I got my.
And see, I come behind y'all with diplomacy.
No, you come first, Cash.
Cash, you started.
Yeah, you started this mess.
Yes.
When I met you, I had every intention of shutting down my blog. I never had any intentions of doing this. No offense to Ashley.
That's all your fault.
None of this is in the cards. This is all you. And that's why it's important.
Like, do you think, like, November, we've been doing the show for a year now, and do you think that I had any when I started listening to your fucking show and chatting to people in the chat room that I'd be doing this for a fucking year? Like, no.
Yeah. Look, I left his first ReasonCon and became a co-host on No Religion Required.
Well, then that's
a believer.
And you know what's cool though is how many people y'all have affected over the last 2 years. You know how many ripples have gone out because of what you're doing.
Well, we hope so, for sure. I mean, we try to talk to a lot of different people, and, you know, we've tackled a lot of the big religions and some of the kookier shit. Like, you know, we've got Robert, our ex-Scientologist friend, and now we have some ex-JW friends, and we have our Bryce and our ex-Mormon friends. And
I'm ex-Mormon.
Yeah, and Cash is
we've got Cash here. Or as Mr. Deity told me, it's a foreman, he says.
Yeah, foreman. He's hilarious, Brian. Golly.
I got to hang out with him. We had a conference up here in my hometown of Kitchener in August, and that's where I got to meet Lawrence Krauss. And I hung out with Brian. Oh shit!
Jealous.
We closed out the cocktail hour with Brian, me, one of my good friends here in the local group, and a couple of ladies from the Hamilton group, and we were there till, and like the con started at 9 a.m. and we were at the cocktail hour till like after 2, hanging out with Brian. So he was fun as shit. So yeah, I got to hang out with him. That's where I learned the whole foreman thing. So.
Well, what I think is funny tying into Ashley's show last night is that this whole Patreon bullshit. But if you think about it, No Religion Required, our show, are all offshoots in some way to Cash's show. And when I first started listening to Cash, and I'll be honest, it took me about 7 shows to really get into it. And I was like, you know, the more I listened, I was like, I like this dude. And the reason being is that I think what makes you lovable, Cash, is that you're real.
It was the clogging that did it for me.
It was what?
The clogging.
Oh, the clogging.
Yeah, he was clogging at ReasonCon 1.
And then if you listen to Bobby and Ashley's show, No Religion Required, it's very similar to Cash's. It's very real, but especially Deb and I, we have seen Ashley change as a person, in the sense that growing in her atheism, if I can borrow a term.
Shut up.
Huh?
Yeah.
So now they can't get me. Now y'all can't get me to shut up, and now we got people to shut up.
Hey, I like when you go on your rants, because your rants are very, like the one was 2-3 weeks ago with Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, shit like that's important. People have to realize that we are people.
Right.
We're not subhuman. We're not the dregs of society.
And I'm definitely not your ass.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the offshoot of Cash and the Atheists on Air. I mean, you see it with our show specifically, but I think that's what you started, Cash. I mean, yeah, you're very brusque, and that has actually grown on me. And I really, that's one of the things I really liked about Atheists on Air. And I love Professor Stephen. Him and I go back and forth about science stuff all the time. But I think each and every one of us, especially within the podcasting community, we do feed off of each other, and I think that's what's important. And you go to conferences, like the one in Nashville that Deb and Ashley were just at, and you see that. I mean, it's just, Ashley brought it up last night. It's the family you choose.
Right.
Yep. And that's what's important.
Fantastic fucking family.
I would say so. I mean, how cool is it? I'm standing around and somebody's like, Deb, and I'm like, who's that? Now that was Sharon, and Sharon works on Atheist Apocalypse with me, but she doesn't have a camera, so I'd never seen her when we did our script readings. So here comes Sharon up behind me going, Deb, and I'm like, I don't know this person. And Sharon, oh, hi! And Jinx, I'd never seen Jinx before, and I'm reading her name tag, holy shit, it's Jinx, hey! How's it going? That's just cool as shit. And running into the Sarnia people,
Deb and Ashley, we already got 3 fucking people going to be in this king-size bed. We can't really...
I know. Yeah, what would you have done if I would have came down?
Pile them up. We just pile them up.
Right, we'll pile them up wherever we fall.
I didn't even notice they were there. That's how big that fucking bed was.
California.
I don't know. Well, maybe I know everything's bigger in Texas. Does that sort of translate up to Nashville too? I don't know.
They might think so.
Well, they had some big ass guitars at the Opry. That's for sure.
Yep, that's about.
Yeah.
We had a guest. We have this little Airbnb thing. Have you heard of Airbnb? And
yeah, I've seen the pictures. You've done a fantastic job.
Thank you. It's doing good, and it's helping our family, financially. But we had a couple come in this weekend, and the guy sees my shirt, and it's the Untarted shirt, but it has the Atheist A in the middle.
Yep.
And he goes, "Are you an atheist?" And I said, "Yeah." And which, my wife has warned me, don't wear these shirts, when we have guests.
Sounds like me to Bobby.
And I'm like, I don't wear glory hole out there in front of them, but I do wear, the other stuff. And she, anyway, he goes, me too. Now he's 6'5", like Paul Bunyan big, huge man. And he goes, you know Daniel Dennett, don't you? And I went, yeah. And he goes, he's my friend. He's, in fact, this guy's name's Justin, and he's in the forward of his last book, of Daniel Dennett's book. Plus, they're such good friends. It's not like I know him friend. I tell people, well, me and David Silverman are, we're like this. This is me over here. And we went to different schools together and everything. And but anyway, this guy has, in Daniel Dennett's will, is, he takes control over all of his intellectual assets.
Holy shit.
Over the whole Dennett estate of all the intellectual property.
Wow.
And it was just phenomenal. I get chill bumps talking about it just because I know that's still, 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever it is. But
yep.
I felt like I knew that, I was standing there with somebody he's a philosopher, by the way, at Princeton.
Oh, wow.
He's damn good.
Fuck, he was so smart and so, you expect this gruff because he was so big, and he's so soft-spoken and nice and just sweet and had these eyes that make you want to, I just wanted to hug him, could you cuddle me while I went to sleep, because he's like this huge man, and I felt like, this tiny little thing up to him, but then to know that he was so smart, was also, that's attractive as hell to me. It was just fun. I thought I'd share that with you.
No, that's amazing. And I mean, he must have thought he won the fucking lottery, getting an Airbnb down in your neck of the woods and finding it's the atheist dude with the Airbnb. Like, that probably doesn't happen very often, so...
Yeah.
It was fun though, but things are going pretty good. My wife and I are having troubles, just because after 16 goddamn years of marriage, she has decided she doesn't like little penises anymore. And so I don't know where that's going to go, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. They have pills for that, I heard. My email keeps telling me.
I don't think that makes them grow.
Well, that's not what my email tells me. What's that, Ashley?
It makes them grow for a minute or 4.
Right.
Or 4 hours of
Right.
but you have to seek medical attention if you have that.
Yeah, we don't want any more than 4 hours. That's what I hear, yes.
If I go 4 hours, I'm going to seek medical attention because I'll make sure he does it again.
Oh shit!
She'll leave him laying there. She'll leave him laying there in the lazy boy recliner, standing all attention. Wait till like 3 hours and 34 minutes and climb back on. Okay, if this doesn't do it, we're going to the doctor, baby. I'm here for you.
I'll get that taken care of. Don't you worry. Oh, shit.
Bobby gets out of the hospital raw.
He's going, fuck, and I'm going, yes!
Now you're walking funny, bitch.
Hell yeah.
Oh, my God. This is why we can't get Cash on the show. He just, and plus this, I can cuss on this show too. Fuck.
Exactly. This is Ashley's weekly outlet for all of the cussing she can't do on Sunday night.
They did pretty good last night, though.
Well, they put the tag on last night. That's why.
We ended up throwing the explicit tag up.
Yeah. It kind of went. We're just not gonna try and hold that in, but then Bobby got to drop one too, so that worked.
Well, it's very funny hearing Bobby say something like that live.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, that sounded weird.
Well, you should listen to it as podcast, because last night was actually the first time I got to listen to your show live, more than 10 minutes of it, and it's just so funny because it's like all the podcasts is like. You don't hear any of that kind of, the way we talk here. And then, like, to hear him do it live, it's, like,
weird. Well, and for me, it's kind of funny because, I was with them all weekend, and we fucking cuss all the time on, hanging out, but...
It's like you go to fucking church on Sunday at 7 p.m. and you
Yeah, it's like, stop.
Wait a minute, I left church because of this bullshit.
I know. I get, why Bobby does that, and it's cool and all, but I have this thing where I think the idea of quote profanity is fucking stupid.
It is.
Okay? The idea of making up words just for the fact that you can't say them is just fucking ridiculous. So I just rail against it whenever I can. Now, I'm not going to walk up to some kid on this, and say, "How the fuck are you, little kid?" Because parents don't like that. But I don't understand the concept of things that you're not allowed to say. So that's why I will probably never have a PG show.
You're allowed to say it. It's just that down here it's got that respectful tone to it, you don't cuss in front of elders, and you don't cuss in front of...
That'd be quite a shit then, because almost every other word for me, and it's funny because with my boss, her two youngest do work in the store, and I try to be respectful, but I slip. It's funny because they're like, "We've heard it before, Beth, don't worry," but it's like I do worry because they're 12, 14 years old. But yeah, if we ever had to go PG-13, I'd be bleeping myself out constantly.
I would have a shit ton of editing to do, put it that way.
Yeah, so you would.
The idea of
you know, censoring your kids from saying profanity.
I don't get that, because I grew up, of course, you know, don't ever say those bad things. My father used to swear at, because we're farmers, he would swear at the cows and he would swear at the pigs and whatever. And I'd be like, Mommy, why does Daddy say the F? Yeah. I'd be like, why does Daddy say the F word? And I don't even remember what she'd say. It was some like lame excuse. But you go, even if you don't hear it from your own parents, the minute you go out into life, like, and even if they send you to some like fucking Jesus camp, French, whatever Morgan went to school, you know, somewhere you're going to hear people saying fuck this, fuck that, shit, damn, cunt, motherfucker. And you're going to either make the decision to say it or not. But, you know, the idea that you can shelter a child from ever hearing this is ridiculous. And the more you say just don't do that without any kind of qualification or explanation or, hey, this is why these words exist. I don't know about anybody else's kids, but when I was a kid, as soon as somebody said don't do that, the first thing I wanted to do is do it and find out why.
Right.
You know, it's when you taboo something, it's when then they're going to want to do it. You know? So.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm going to tell y'all something. Christian that hadn't heard so many cuss words until he met y'all.
Hello, Christian.
No.
Sorry.
He's coming at me going, Mama, can I say shit? and then you're sitting back and you're like, well, yes, because you really don't want to censor him because he's 15 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't censor my son. He's 14, and he cusses. Like, he'll go, God damn it, Dad, look what I did. And I go, I mean, I'm okay with that. As long as I try to teach him where to use it, you know,
Right.
when to use it. And my two youngest, let them cuss. And it's no big deal. If they hit their thumb with a hammer, they go fuck or shit, and I don't care. I don't even blink anymore about it.
Yeah.
And I like it. empowers me too.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you a story, because my teen years is when I was my most religious. So, I was pretty uptight and wallflower and all that bullshit. And my father he was a farmer, was a trucker, construction guy, he had toilet mouth. The first time we were driving, it was my brother and I and my father, and I don't know how old I was, maybe 17 or 18, and I said fuck in his presence. He actually pulled the fucking car over, turned around, shook my hand, and said, it's about goddamn time. So, yeah. And I even remember getting into a fight with my brother and I getting into a fight with my mother, she chastised one of us for saying fuck or something, and I just said, look, and I was pretty young, like, I don't know, like maybe 14, and I said, look, why is that a swear word? Well, it just is. I said, well, then I've decided that foot is a swear word, and I just said and I looked at my brother like, foot you, no, foot you, well, foot off, and she's like, will you just stop it? And I'm like, well, why is it any different? And my biggest beef is when people, like, if they're typing or whatever and they put the asterisk in or whatever, we know we're saying fuck.
It doesn't change anything. My mind still thought it.
I know. Right. I read it as if you said fuck. So
right.
Yeah.
Right, and then you'll see these same people that are so offended by profanity. They'll go to a goddamn R-rated movie and they'll watch that and never have a problem with it. Never fucking have a problem with it because they know it's going to be there. And they go watch them. And I don't even understand that concept. Or they'll go see a comedian who's just foul-mouthed as hell, and they just eat it up, laughing, clapping, and everything. They get out, and somebody goes, "Oh, God damn it!" And they're like,
yeah.
And think about it. The comedy shows they're going to, the R-rated movies, they're paying to go see these people cuss.
Right, right. And they could pay me if it makes them feel better.
Yeah, I'll go stand in front of them and cuss for 2 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm good at it.
Well, we lost Beth there, so I don't know if that's a internet problem or what. Hopefully she'll be on again shortly. Like we said, she's been a little bit under the weather, but I think it was pretty quick. I think her ISP might have dropped, but hopefully she'll be back.
Yeah, I
But
hate when my ISP drop twos.
equipment issues. Have to get some of those pills for that.
The blue one.
Yeah, the blue one for that. But yeah,
Well,
that whole. Oh, there she is. She's back.
My internet decided to crap out.
We thought it might have been a droopy internet. We suggested some blue pills.
Ah, okay.
All right, here's
What would I do with them?
here's the
Yeah.
the picture
Oh
of
wow!
me
And
and
you're not.
Justin. He's the one with the 6'5" feller.
I was gonna say you're not a small man, from what I understand, Cash. So damn.
Well, I'm small. I'm small. I'm 70 pounds lighter than I was a year ago.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I've lost a bunch of weight, but it's I'm you know I round up. I say I'm 5'8", but I'm a little over 5'5", and and so I round up to 5'8". It just sounds better. But this guy's tall and just a nice guy, really nice guy. It was great.
Oh
meeting him.
well, Ashley, how tall is David Silverman?
like 8 foot.
Yeah.
Giant guys.
In my picture with him, I think the top of my head just kind of comes up to his shoulder, but he's actually leaning in a little bit. So
I think my head came up to his waist.
there are people that would probably not complain about that. My, my high school boyfriend is 6'3".
He never complained.
What she's saying is she never got rug burn on her knees.
Hell no.
Just stand there.
Yep. You got that right. Oh, shit.
So I gotta tell you, I've been having this problem ever since Deborah left my house. Okay, so I think so. I started craving like really sweet candy this past weekend. Don't know why, just really did. Okay, so apparently I woke up sometime in the middle of the night, Saturday night, and started eating sweet tarts. And Corinne looks over at me, and I've got, I'm just throwing sweet tarts in my mouth. So apparently I was sleep eating. This morning I woke up with a bag of pretzels in bed.
Pretzels in the bed, huh? And so this is connected to me somehow?
It didn't start
Are you
until
taking
you left.
Ambien?
Are you taking Ambien, she says?
No, everybody's asked me that. But
Because
no.
on Ambien you will do what they call sleep eating. They actually found me out on the porch in the middle of wintertime in my night clothes, which is nothing at the time. Yeah, I was totally naked.
That's how I lost my left nipple.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little frostbite.
Goddamn Ambien shit. I lose the right one, I'm not going to be good for no one.
I told Bobby to be thankful he's waking up with pretzels and I wasn't bringing silverware into the bed.
Oh, Lorena Bobbitt.
When she said, I started craving sweets for no reason, I'm like, okay, I did not get you pregnant, okay? That's just, no.
No spit babies.
I know somebody asked me that. They're like, have you been taking your birth control like you're supposed to? And I'm like, look, if I'm pregnant, I got some splaining to do. Because Bobby can definitely say it's not his, and I'm in trouble.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh, where you been? And yet, not going to be a wedding.
Well, it might be a shotgun wedding, but not that way.
Yeah, it won't be. It'll be with a shotgun, all right.
Oh shit!
Okay,
Yeah,
I gotta throw this out there because it's someone within our community, and Deb can relate to this because it relates to my recent hospitalization. That moment you fill out emergency contact information for surgery, and you have no one to put there anymore. And this goes back to what Ashley was saying about chosen family. Well, I don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah.
That's really sad that somebody in our community has to say that.
It is. And,
I mean,
well,
I'm
like,
sorry,
and
I don't mean to
no,
be
no, no,
down,
that's
but
okay.
it just caught my eye. That's
It's
just
important.
ridiculous.
It is important because how sad and sick is it that actual blood relations would, turn their back on somebody just because they don't do what they think, they think the wrong way. Like, how sickening is that?
I mean, I know I could put my dad down, but I mean, my dad's 87 years old and just went through pretty much hell with my mom with her death and everything. So the last thing I want him to do is to deal with whatever it is I'm dealing with, whether it's stroke or MS or lupus or whatever they think it is. But for somebody to, I mean, like, because I went through the same thing when I initially did my contact the first time I got sick in July, and they asked me for contact information. I didn't really have anybody I could put down that I would put down without talking to them first. And they're like, "Oh, there has to be somebody that you're friends with." I'm like, "Do you see anybody with me?"
Yeah.
I mean, and I went through it again, in the hospital this past week. It's like, "Do you see anybody visiting?" Because they were doing the HIPAA stuff, and they're like, well, who can we... I mean, I do have Deb down now as someone that they can contact, and my father, but prior to talking to her about it, I had nobody to put down, and I left it blank up until about 2-3 months ago. And for anybody in our community to have to go through that, I mean, that's just bullshit.
Yeah.
That's just fucking bullshit.
It is. And I think in some places like with you, Ashley, in Georgia, that's, I think, goes into another good reason, aside from the fact that you're stuck with the guy anyway. But one of the reasons why you're probably getting married is because that legality, and if there was a problem, because right now you don't have any rights.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, and that's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, and I don't want my religious mother or my corruptive stepmother to even remotely bury my ass and give me a fucking church funeral.
Yeah.
That's what they would do.
Yeah, that's why people, I'm not 100% for gay marriage, but with one caveat. I went through this with my ex, is that when I was her mother's power of attorney, and they just kind of looked at it funny, and we went through hell with the hospital at the time. It's just like, these people are my power of attorney. If something happens to me, I can't make my decision. It always fell on my partner who I was with, and in some states it's not legally recognized. Now with the marriage, whether it's gay or straight, it doesn't matter, either one. But with marriage, you gain legal rights as a spouse that you do not have in a domestic partnership.
Exactly.
And most states, very few states even recognize domestic partnerships.
And the other thing that's kind of sad that comes out in these situations is whether it's a same-sex relationship or whether it's family of choice, the blood relations often take these opportunities to assert their dominance and try to say, well, see, now look, you're laid up in the hospital, now you really need Jesus, and I'm going to make sure you get it.
That's what I went through last Thanksgiving. Someone said to me after I had what I thought was a stroke, but they're questioning that, and one of my friends who's more religious but not a nut job goes, "Oh, you have a lot to be thankful for." I'm like, I do. I can't tie my shoes. It takes me 30 minutes to put my pants on. Putting underwear on is almost impossible. Oh, I can't button my own shirt. I can't do this. It's like, what do I have to be thankful for? I have nothing. The only thing I have to be thankful for is the fact that I have people that have at least taken an interest, granted it's long distance, but it's better than what I have here. I have not, it's like they automatically assume that, being laid up, as I was last year, that, you know, it would drive me back to religion. It's actually made me angrier, and that's why I think I'm going through the angry atheist phase again. That, you know, people are relying on, quote, prayer. I mean, the junk I got sent by people who I know were meaning well. I mean, I think one of the first posts I was able to do when I was back was about all the woo people sent me for possible stroke, and it's like, if I took this advice, I'd be fucking dead.
Yeah. The woo shit, yeah, and people, I know they think they're helping, but really, you know, like my stepfather, he's a little gullible when it comes to the woo. And a few years ago, he had read some book about the evils of aspartame or some shit. I don't know what it was. And my uncle has Parkinson's, and it's reasonably well controlled and whatnot. But he wanted to go to my uncle and tell my uncle that he should read this book about the evils of aspartame and how it could help him with his Parkinson's. And my mother shut that shit down in a hurry. She's like, no, you don't do that.
Well, there's a new well, you bring up aspartame. There's a new study out on Splenda, and the media is jumping on it that Splenda causes cancer. Well, I was just reading a takedown today about it, about how the study is very, very, very flawed for various reasons, and basically the dosage they were giving the mice, and we are not mice. Last I looked, I mean, I do only have two tits.
I don't have a tail, no.
Yeah, I don't have a tail, and my nose doesn't wiggle. At least not without help.
I don't have funky little ears.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you do, but they're not natural.
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't have that hairband nearby, but.
But it's just like now the media is jumping that Splenda is bad. And it's like, I can see the headlines now with Vanna Harry, and that just a food babe for people that are unaware. And it's like, it's science. I mean, that's why, going back to what Cash was saying, what do we believe in? Is we believe in science. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, yeah. And it's sad, too, because a lot of otherwise, like, atheist or, quote, skeptical people, they still get suckered in by a lot of that weird stuff.
Well, you and I got suckered into the paranormal.
Yes, we Ashley too. We are all ex-ghost hunters.
I did. I got suckered in. After Christianity, I went straight into spirituality, universal spirit, and attracting good and karma and all. Yeah, I went the Deepak Chopra route. Wayne Dyer, that.
Oh, Wayne Dyer, my favorite. I've been reading about.
Yeah. How there's a timeline that we all go through.
Yeah. Well, even though I did a 180 on the religion, I still, and I don't know if it was cognitive dissonance or what, but I was able to sort of compartmentalize. There's no God, definitely there's no, and I've always been 100% there's no God since day one. But I was able to sort of mentally kind of, there could be, mental energy could be a ghost maybe, I don't know, and shit like that because I wanted to believe it. So I found sort of pseudo-science-y ways that would sort of kind of explain it or justify it, I guess is the way I would say it. And a lot of... Mm-hmm.
Well, your key word is pseudoscience, and one of the things I discovered in my 5-6 years was that they try to make it scientific or scientific sounding, and for those that aren't well versed in the sciences, and this is one of the things I have actually worked on, is to try to understand science more, not just the basics what I've learned in school and stuff, but to understand like how to read a study. And then there's one article I'll be posting it later. It really delves into this is what you need to look for in a study. This is what you should do. And one of the things I've learned is that there are certain sites that I go to that I know they'll break down a study. They'll break down the good, the bad, and that. So bad. And I rely on them because I know that they are science-based. They are evidence-based. And David Gorski and Joe Novella are two of the primary, Joe and his brother, I'm drawing a blank, skeptics God of the universe. They're very good at doing that. And you have to learn what resources you have. Like, for anything Islam, I go to Deb. That was my starting point. Okay, who should I go read? And she's put me on to, what is it? Who's the Islam guy that on YouTube?
The Masked Arab. If you want a good YouTube channel to do with Islam, that guy is the shit. The Masked Arab. He's an Arabic speaker, and he does all of his videos twice. He does an English version and an Arabic version. So if you get some asshole that's like, "Oh, you didn't understand the Arabic," then too bad you don't understand it. Well, we can bring him out and be like, "Here it is in Arabic, asshole."
Yeah,
so I love that guy.
And like with Cash, with his theology background, granted I have one too, but he actually was studying deeper into the ministry. So if I have a question about that, I go to Cash. If I have a question about science, you can ask Stephen. I go to Professor Stephen all the time. Stephen, is my reasoning sound on this? Because I like to break things down to where, Joe Blow down the street can understand it. So that's one of the things we have within the atheist community. We have people we can go to that are smarter than we. Okay, yeah. Corinne has a question. It wasn't going to.
Cash, we have a request from Miss Corinne. She would like for you to tell the masturbation story.
Oh no. I haven't had here. I have to get up early, and I didn't drink near enough bourbon for that story.
Okay.
I tell you what, I will promise you this.
Yes.
When I'm honored to come back on, I'll make it a point to boost up.
Okay.
That story is it's embarrassing when I'm drunk.
Okay, well, if anybody's super curious, what is it, Ashley? Episode 9 of NRR has it?
Doesn't it involve like a tube sock or something?
I don't know.
A bendy straw.
Oh, a bendy straw. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is gonna be this.
Blow job, goddammit, blow job. And I was a faithful little Mormon boy, so.
Yep.
Moral of the short run of it was bendy straw, tip of my dick, and blow hard.
Wow.
And I pulled myself off the fucking toilet.
Ashley, I think you could tell Christian that he's finally, the black towel's been outdone, and he's good.
No. Y'all have no idea what Corinne did to him this weekend.
Oh no. Yes, I do. But please say.
Corinne brought Christian a gift, put it in a bag like a birthday present type thing, and said, "Here, I brought you a gift from Jacksonville." And he takes it out of the bag, and it's a black towel.
Yep. I don't know. Cash doesn't know why the black towel is significant.
Yeah, Cash, I don't think you know about the black towel.
No.
Okay, so it was the first time that Mom here experienced her little boy. Okay, that didn't sound right.
You came to the realization that
my son was 15 years old. So I went and I like the Georgia Bulldog, so I decorated their bathroom in Georgia Bulldog stuff, which involved a black hand towel. Okay. Well, when we first moved in here, the black hand towel was in the bathroom, and after they went back to their dad's, I was going through and cleaning up the bathroom and everything, and went to go put something up under the sink.
Right.
Found the black towel. And I'm like, what the fuck is this doing here? So I take it out, and I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
So I immediately, Bobby?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My gosh.
And I'm sitting here and I'm having this conversation with Bobby, and I'm like, I don't want to upset him because it's something natural.
Right. Right.
But don't sit up under the sink for your damn mama to find. Do that shit in the damn shower.
Right. Right. There's the whole time and a place thing.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So now when he comes over, I make sure he's got his black towel hanging in the bathroom.
See, you know what? When we come down for maybe if in Reason Rally or for Wedding Con, one of the one, I'm gonna have to try and find a black towel with a maple leaf on it. He's gonna have, by the time he goes to college, if he chooses to go to college or whatever the hell he does, he's gonna have like this collection of international black towels.
He's wanting to go into the Navy.
Okay, well, I don't think he can only maybe take one or two if he's going to the Navy. But
dude, what's up with all the black towels?
how come they've all got like, you know, one like logo from different place on them or some shit? It reminds me when I was, you know, his age, I used to collect glass and china bells, but it's not quite the same thing. People would buy me bells whenever they went somewhere. We can just send him a black towel.
Well, I've told that story numerous times on the show because our whole life is on our show.
Yep.
So of course I'm going to tell the story of me finding the black towel.
All gummed up and yucked under the sink.
Yeah, but you're amongst friends, and what would you do amongst friends? You'd tell them shit, and that's how my little story came about. Because we were at ReconCon, and everybody's drunk and shit, but I think I shocked and awed. You know, it was like the George Bush Iraq thing. Because some of them laughed their ass off, and some of them were like, you know, like taken aback by it.
Yeah, they're like, "What the fuck did I just hear?"
My wife was pretty much one of the taken aback ones.
Did she know about the story ahead of time, or was she just like you actually told that?
She was just astounded and mortified that I said that in public.
Yeah.
And it just seemed appropriate. They were talking about masturbation, and you know, I was gonna one up everybody. Hey, have you ever tried to blow your ball sack off with a bendy straw? Because that's what fucking happened. It was the worst pain. And then I went to school and told my buddy, and I was like, this shit does not work. The blowjob thing is horrid. It's painful. And he goes, what do you mean? And he goes, I said, well, I did it to myself. And he goes, how? And, you know, he's thinking I'm bit down and, you know, even practicing fall off the couch 3 times trying to get to it thing. And I said, no, I used a bendy straw. And he goes, what did you do? You can't suck through a bendy. I said, no, I blew it.
Because it's a blowjob.
Yeah. I'm still not sure my left nut's perfect.
And if y'all would like to know how that story came about, it was that drunk casting, episodes 9, 10, and 11 required, where you can hear how Cash is the reason why he only has one left ball sack.
That's it.
I could just imagine your poor little Mormon friends like going, what?
I just want to know how many went out and bought candy straws the next day.
Because we all know, like we've talked about Mormonism a lot, but you know, you don't touch nothing down there if you're Mormon. That's like, you know, Joseph Smith's gonna come and whap you with the flaming sword if you do that.
Yeah, that's bad news.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I was young. I know I was 12 or 13, and you know, I didn't know anything about masturbation. And I just was dumb to it. You know, you grow up with these blinders on that your parents put on you, and I was, you know, all this blowjob talk, and I was like, well, fuck it, I can try that shit. Who needs a girl?
Okay.
I got a healthy set of lungs. I'm serious. I fell off the commode because I was sitting on the toilet, just sitting on top of the seat, you know?
Yeah.
And it hurt so bad, I just fell forward, just wham, smacked the floor.
I can imagine it hurt like a bastard.
It's like an air embolism, except in a. I mean, I'd rather have a heart embolism, I think, than that. That was horrid.
Did that take a while to kind of get over?
I didn't even want to look down there anymore. I thought Satan, I mean, God had just punished me, like, instantly, like, bam, motherfucker.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it resonated with me.
Don't do that or God will punish you. You really started believing in that shit, didn't you?
I was 17 before I ever attempted to masturbate.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I never touched that motherfucker. 5 years went by. I never touched that fucker.
Wow.
I didn't even wash it fast.
I ain't going nowhere near that one.
Did you get like the air? Did you use like a blow dryer or something?
You used a grabber stick to grab the washcloth.
Oh, poor Beth is turning purple over there. Oh shit! So Corinne was having trouble with the Q&A. Now, I don't know. Trippin is in there though. Hi, Trippin. And he was saying that in North Carolina they've had people driving in construction equipment thinking that they were work while sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my wife actually got up, and I thought she was mad. I had no reason to expect her to be mad or suspect her of being mad, but it woke me up, and I heard her plundering, you know, in the kitchen. And I get up and I went, "What are you doing?" This was several years back, and I said, "What are you doing?" And she just ignores me, gets her keys, slams the door, gets in her car, and leaves.
Oh.
And comes back about 3 hours later. And I'm up watching news, okay, in the middle of the night. You know, it's 5, 6 a.m.
Yep.
Shows back up. And she doesn't remember any of it, doesn't even know where she went. And she did get pregnant, and I'm fixed, so, no, I'm just kidding. But she swears she doesn't know. No, I trust her. I don't have a clue. I know that the doctor told me from now on, just stop them. You know, don't. But we never had any more instances. We had 2 incidences, and that was one of them, but that was the scariest once I realized he wasn't aware of her environment.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, who knows? Because, like Trippin said, if somebody thinks that they're on a construction site and they're, like, trying to bulldoze shit and they're in a car, they're just going to be like, oh, I got to bulldoze that tree. Like,
right.
God. Fuck. That's fucking scary. I'm happy to say I've never had, you know, anything like that, but Beth, can we hear you now? She was having some audio trouble.
Yeah, I must have hit the mute button. Okay. I must have hit the mute button.
It's okay. No worries.
Does that to me all the time.
Well, I have one on my mic, on my headset, and
okay.
Bump it, and of course being blind is bad. I can't see it. But what I was going to say was I just find it very, I guess, comical that, you know, we're 4 idiots sitting around just bullshitting, talking about masturbation, which, yes, it is kind of embarrassing for me, but...
Yeah, my wife's listening tonight, and she's probably just as livid as
Well, I'm kind of a prude when it comes to that. I will be...
She's a little old-fashioned, but we'll forgive her.
I was there, too, though, Beth. I was there. I mean, I was an atheist, an out-and-out atheist, beyond spirituality and Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer, and I was still judging what my daughters wore out of the house.
Yeah, but I can't see this happening on any Christian radio or any type of Christian show, and that's what kills me is that they, like you were saying, we are so brainwashed as children to, like, avoid this topic. I mean, my God, you use the fucking bendy straw.
Yeah, but you know, I have a rant. I have a rant from way back and about this, and I used other examples like, what if they'd have told us? What if the powers that were told us that it was our elbow that couldn't be touched, private, special, and all of us would be very sensitive. We'd go to the beach with little elbow pads on so nobody saw our fucking elbows. Dicks hanging out, but fucking elbows are covered. And
Yeah.
It's like those leather patches that professors wear in their sweaters.
Well, it is so funny because you go over to Europe, especially the Nordic countries like Norway and Finland and Sweden, they are very open about sexuality. I'm not talking about gay or straight, I'm just talking sexuality in general. We are such Victorian prudes over, and I think this is where I get it wrong, being that I'm a little bit older than you, Devin, Ashley. I think Cash and I are the same age, but it's like you said, even now, I've been out for goddamn over 20 years, and I'm still very prudish about it.
well, you've been out longer than me. I mean, I've only been out since I was 38, and still went through like a 2-year spiritual phase, maybe 2.5.
Yeah, I went through 6.
And so I've only been, atheist for, well, since I came out, since anybody knew who I was. But it was, let's see, I'm 45, so 5, 6
Oh, I'm
years.
older than you, dude. You
Well, I always try to comb my beard in a way that makes me look older. And it's the maturity, too. See, that
Of
gets
course.
Well,
I'm
and
so
that's
fucking mature that people they just think I'm 75. And
no, I don't think you're that old.
Oh, shit.
But I just find it funny that, I mean, especially on Beyond the Trailer Park, there's really no topic that's taboo.
Nope.
You go listen to, Focus on the Family or any of those types of shows, and they wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. No pun
Well, because
intended.
you might encourage someone to go have sex without a piece of paper,
Yeah.
Like, that would be horrible. Or a condom. Well, yeah,
Well,
but if you wear a condom, you're telling people to go fuck everyone on the planet, don't
the
you?
problem is
birth control.
That doesn't deter sex.
No.
And
No.
none of it does. In fact, it creates opportunities for worse types of sexual activity.
Absolutely does.
From child molestation, you see it in the Catholic Church. Then you go on to the to girls that have desires. Boys have desires, and they're in high school. They're told not to do anything, not to think anything. They have sex and they get pregnant, and then they're shipped off, or they're hidden, or they are made to feel like shit and sinners, all because they responded to natural shit that was in them.
Yeah.
Well, I know in Texas, specifically Texas, it was a few years ago, I don't know if the statistic still stands, but in Texas, anal sex was the biggest thing because they didn't consider it sex. Because, with a natural intercourse, it wouldn't produce a baby. And what happened was that in Texas, they had a higher STD rate. Dealing with anal sex. Gonorrhea was like huge in Texas, and like you said, with the shipping of the females off because they're pregnant. That's what I am. I'm a product of. I'm adopted. I mean, my mother was, according to family stories, a fucking whore, and I don't mean to use that term nastily, but I mean, she doesn't know who my father is. Supposedly, according to stories, it's one of 4 guys, one of which is black. I mean, and basically, I was shipped off to a home when I was a baby, and my parents adopted me. And I'm a product of that system back in the 60s and the early 70s. So it's funny when I see, like, what is it? Was it Colorado? I think it was Colorado that's actually reduced because they've gone aggressively towards sex education, real sex education. They have almost eliminated.
Over a 50% decrease, and Texas went up because they started this whole abstinence only program, which eliminated sex education in public schools.
I'll never forget the first time I went, and the girls have heard me talk about this old Yahoo group I used to belong to. The first time I as an atheist, kind of went, there's too much religion shit around here, I need to go yell at some Christians, and we don't have that here in Canada. So I joined this Yahoo group, and it was run by these fundy idiots. And I'll never forget, they posted some story, and the owner of the group, his favorite website ever was WorldNut Daily, so he probably posted some article about birth control, and I was like, sex ed, and I was like, well, yeah, of course you educate your kids about that stuff. And I'll never forget when he came back and was like, that's encouraging them to go have sex with everyone. I'm like, what the fuck planet are you on? Like, I was floored, absolutely floored that anyone could have that, because that kind of shit just doesn't, people don't talk that way up here. So I couldn't believe he was from Muncie, Indiana at the time. I believe he's moved since then. This is like 10 years ago now. But I was completely floored that someone would equate proper education with saying go fuck everyone. Like, yeah.
That's unreal. But I mean,
is.
it's still going on here. I mean, we still have it going on in the states, especially in the southern states.
Yeah.
And no matter the statistics, even though it's not just correlation, it's causation, and they've shown the causation, it's still like they ignore that. It's like white noise to them, and they go, no, Jesus is going to be mad. We need to tell everybody to not have sex, and that's going to work because we've been doing this for years, decades. We have lots of history and lots of statistical history on it, so we know what the fuck doesn't work, and yet we still fucking do it.
Yeah.
Over and
I
over.
mean, I have no problem with somebody saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't have sex till later on, but give them the fucking birth control anyway. Because you know damn well that a lot of them are going to do it anyway.
Nope.
Because, I mean, and again, it goes back to what I said before. The minute you make something taboo, kids are going to want to do it. If you sit down and say, okay, I'm going to show you, first of all, what happens when you have sex and what happens when a girl gets pregnant, and here's the biology, and then here's some sexually transmitted diseases, and here's how you can get them, here's how you can prevent them. Like, sit down and tell them every fucking thing that you can think of. A lot of them are probably going to say, you know what, I maybe want to wait till I'm older, or you know what, let's get some birth control just in case.
Right.
Well, it comes down to two things. It's patriarchy and Wilberforce.
Yeah.
And it is actually part of their manipulation and their control. They tried to control sexuality and how it's expressed, whether, if you want to get into the whole LGBT stuff. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the church has controlled sexuality for so long. I mean, you look now, we have the purity cultures where, I mean, some of the pictures I have seen I can handle gross stuff, but I'm sorry, seeing a father kiss his daughter in the manner that I about puked some of the pictures I've seen. I mean, that
shit gives me the fucking creeps, like.
Yeah, there's some photos that are just beyond, giving you the willies. And very few things shock me, but I post a lot about the sexual abuse within the church, and not just the Roman Catholic. And it's not just a Catholic problem. It's in a lot of your Protestant churches. JWs are, especially in Australia, Son might be able to comment more, or Donna, they're having a big problem with them hiding the sexual abuse within the JW church.
Yes, they are.
The Presbyterian Church has a big stink right now over in Australia. Is the whole George Pell thing, and it's because our view of sexuality is so stunted. Our view of sex is so stunted that people don't know what to think anymore. Then the kids are getting lost. Thankfully, the kids are also getting smarter.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember when and we're pretty liberal up here, obviously, but even when I went through, quote, sex ed was, you're girls, here's your vagina, here's what a period is, here's how to use a tampon, or if you don't like that, go buy pads, and that was it. And we were segregated, so we didn't get to learn about anything to do with boys whatsoever, and my mother's way of dealing with it was she bought me a book and was like, here, read this.
That's exactly what my mother did.
This is a fucking school teacher. Yeah. And you know what I learned? Because my next door neighbor, they had a young daughter. She was like 5 or 6 years younger than me, but we played a lot as little kids and whatnot. And you know, I found her father's porn stash next to the toilet. And so every time I would go over there and I had an opportunity, I was pulling out the porn mags going, wow, so that's how you do that.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because my mom gave me a book when I was, I don't know, I had been about 12. But I never, and I freely admit, I had no interest in sex whatsoever when I was a kid. I was too into hockey back then. And, you know, the old adage, especially coming from a funny background, was that, oh, sports, I must be a lesbian. Well, I was, but I didn't even know what that word meant back then.
I worked out.
And, it wasn't until I hit college, one that I even really knew what the word homosexuality meant. It wasn't until I got to college that I knew what sex was, even though I was having it. But it never really fazed me because I was not really that interested. I was with my girlfriend, but I didn't care. I mean, yeah, we slept together, whatever. But it just like it was so non-existent. I mean, we had your regular sex ed. It must have been the last year when we actually weren't segregated, and we learned the basics. But I could care less. I mean, yeah, I passed the exam and all that shit, but I could give two shits. I mean, it's funny to see the differences, just between countries and how it was taught.
Yeah, oh, totally. And then, you know, in the church I was raised in, which is the United Church, that's a really liberal church, nobody gave a flying fuck about who was fucking who, as long as you weren't, you know, adultery was bad, but, you know, they had, we had women preachers as long as I can remember, and they were the first ones to have openly gay clergy. They were the first ones to say, yep, gay marriage, we're all for that. So that was never a thing until I joined the Calvinists. Funny that.
That's all mind-blowing.
The purity thing, though, that grosses me the fuck out. Honestly, as an abuse survivor, I sometimes find it triggering even. Like I'll see those pictures and I'm like, oh, get that shit away from me. That's ugh. And I get, you know, the extra super.
What's amazing is that it's not done in the closet. It's done in the open. This purity stuff. This daddy-daughter thing, and where you give promise rings, and it's creepy as fuck, and it's done as something proud. That tells you how diluted that system is.
Exactly. Yeah. They have no shame.
On a date with their other sister and dude that's courting her.
Right.
Yes, like those Duggar freaks when they're talking about, oh yeah, our like 12-year-old brother came on our date with us to make sure we don't fuck. Like,
when my sister came on dates with me, we got drunk. He sure as hell wasn't walking behind me making sure my boyfriend wasn't making moves on me.
And the funny thing is, though, is that using the Duggars as example, I don't think, and Vicky would probably correct me on this if I'm wrong, I don't think they're part of the purity culture.
No.
Now, they are quiverful, definitely, but, I mean, you have, you quiverful and patriarchy and the purity culture. I mean, it's funny you said triggering, because the first thing I saw, the first picture I saw was my fucking cousin. And, I mean, not that he did not actually do anything physically, but just the whole, well, we could technically get married because you're adopted, so you're not blood. So when you turn 16, I mean, and to live with that for 6-7 years is like, seriously? Yeah. And that reaction, ugh. I mean, every time I see these pictures, and it's very mind-numbing. It's like you look at these, and it's becoming, I mean, everybody says that it's fringe. Well, it's no longer fringe when you have congressmen swapping out their kids because we don't want them anymore and give them to a rapist.
And we see like pictures of this shit coming through our news feeds all the time now, and it's on fucking YouTube and whatever, and they're like, oh, look at us at our purity ball. I'm like, that's fucking disgusting. Like, I almost kind of wish that some of that was up here so I could just be like, if somebody was, oh, look at, here's pictures of me and my daughter at the purity ball, I would have said, get that fucking shit pouring away from me. Like,
That's
I would love
what
to
it
do
is.
that to somebody.
Well, and I
Like-
think too, like, well, going back to what with Cash, like his impetus was, you know, when I started listening to him, he was kind of the impetus for me to really delve. I don't know if that's the right word, but delve into it and really highlight it. I mean, I've had people ask me, well, why don't you do teachers or why don't you do the police when they do things wrong? I was like, because yes, they are in a position of authority, but they're not judging. They're not saying
They're not trying to create laws that prevent a normal human from being human.
Exactly.
It's like, I mean, well, just this week, Family Values congressman or part of his entourage was just busted for child porn or in pedophilia. I mean, it's like the louder they speak, the more likely they are doing it.
Well, that's exactly it. It's like, methinks he does protest too much. It goes exactly to that. The louder and more vocal, and that's the other reason why when I see those purity pictures, I'm grossed the fuck out, is because I think there probably is something going on there. Mm-hmm. Because statistically, the more against something somebody is, the more likely they are to be doing it.
Well, yeah, or at least thinking it or making a situation right for it to happen.
Exactly.
Well, and that goes back to the Duggar thing. I mean, if one of my original posts on Josh Duggar was that he is, I mean, I know a lot of people will disagree, but I think he is just as much as a victim, and I held that mentality until there was a video of him. I think he was on a double date. I think he was courting Anna at the time. I don't remember the situation. And he made a joke about sleeping with his sisters. Well, you don't joke about something like that unless you've already done it or you've done something. And it's like the more that came out in regards to Josh Duggar's situation, and then the whole Ashley Madison.
Still, though, I think you're right. I think, though, that you were on the right path because he's a product of the environment. Not that he's not accountable. Yeah. Not that he's not accountable like anybody would be.
He is definitely accountable.
But he is definitely a product of a mindset. And, and if people wonder how much power that holds, I mean, y'all have heard me say it. I have a father who is a marine biologist who believes the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Yes.
Yes.
And so there's the power. It's not cognitive dissonance for him in the terms of he actually believes this. It is the core of him, and for him to deny that is to deny Jesus. For him, it isn't for all Christians. I understand that. Well, Josh Duggar or any of the others, I think they're put into a horrid situation where they have illogical and immoral roadblocks to having a normal functioning brain around sex and so it creates problems. Not that they're not still responsible, but this isn't a defense for it. It's just I think we could solve it all with education.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what's sad about, especially in Duggar's case, because they are all homeschooled, and I'm not picking on homeschooling in general, but specifically Christian homeschooling, is that they go from a situation such as the Duggars, then they go to a college like John Patrick Henry. And there's a documentary on YouTube, if I remember, I'll try to post it this week, that delves into why John Patrick Henry was started and the whole ideology behind it, and it falls within the whole Dominious bullshit, but they want to maintain that mindset into adulthood, and they want people actually politicking in that mindset, so that you have people like Ted Cruz.
Right.
Yeah.
Have people, I'll put Mike Huckabee in there, sorta, but you have people like Rubio. You have people like, and Ted Cruz is one extreme of it. Rubio is kind of the gentler extreme. Most people don't realize that Rubio is a dominionist. Big time. So is Hillary Clinton. people don't realize. Hillary Clinton grew up in this mindset. Um, she saw C Street. And if you read Jeff Charlotte's book, I mean, he lays it out. I mean, yeah, we have the whole thing with the voting, and going back to that in the beginning, it's the whole 15% solution. It's
Right.
everything that, and you've heard me speak on it before, Cash. In the one show I called in, and I've talked about it on this show, is that people don't realize, and you touched on this last night too, is that it's the smaller races they go for. Because the smaller races influence state races, which influence the national elections, such as Supreme Court.
Yep. Well, and if you notice, they were positioning Josh Duggar to be a political guy before the shit hit the fan, because he was, you know, I'm with what was it, Family
Council.
Family Research Council, you know, and he was doing speeches, and he was totally ramping up for a political career. And well, I think with his
a former state senator.
I don't think he got elected.
Duggar. True. Yeah, no, he lost. That was the first. That's
and in fact, they blamed him losing on Josh because that's when the first molestation shit came out, and they blamed that. Oh well, he had to like take care of his family and he couldn't campaign properly, and that's why he lost, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but they were totally positioning for some freak like that to get into office.
Well,
that's scary.
It's just like with Sarah Palin. A lot of people don't realize that Sarah Palin was chosen when she was like 18 years old. And if you remember in the last election she was involved in as vice president candidate, they called her the Queen Esther of, you know, of that whole movement. And that's why her becoming involved in Trump's campaign is so dangerous, because she... whether she's drunk or is showing signs that I am, maybe she's.
You form better sentences than she does.
Yeah, I've listened to some of her speeches, and I hope to God I don't sound like that. But it's like people don't realize that people like Sarah Palin are chosen. People like Ted Cruz are actually chosen, although Ted Cruz has a party of one, that be daddy. And what he has going against him is technically, for all intents and purposes, he is a foreigner. And within the dominious mindset, that doesn't work. That's why most people are not for Ted Cruz, and they're all for Trump, but Trump is not a dominious. He's just a jackwad.
Yeah.
And I have no qualm saying that.
Well, I like. Did you guys read what Foda wrote about Trump, about how because a Democrat in the office is going to make Trump more money, so he's trying to throw it to a Democrat because that's in his best interest. And there's no reason for him to actually want to be president, because the president's salary is pretty ridiculous compared to what he already makes.
That has been a theory that's been floated, that Trump was decided to run based on something that Bill Clinton said to him. I don't remember what exactly it was, but supposedly the Clintons talked him into running, and the whole sole purpose, this is one of the, I guess, conspiracy theories, if you want to use that term, that's been thrown out, is that his whole purpose, like you said, is to throw the election.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, I guess. I could end up with a lot of house guests. Actually, how many people fucking asked me how to move up here?
Oh, the damn waitress at the restaurant asked.
I know.
Was that in Nashville or in Georgia?
Nashville.
Nashville's kind of on the cusp. They're a little bit further south than the Mason-Dixon line. But yeah, people here just like, I've kind of kept my mouth shut the last week, but I see a lot of Trump stickers, and it just scares the shit out of me. And I don't scare easily.
Yeah.
I mean, I would much rather, have Trump than Ted Cruz or Rubio, because they both are Dominionists. But and the reason I say that is that, I mean, Ted Cruz has already said I'm a Christian first and an American second. Well, technically American. I don't buy that shit for for 10 seconds. You can have them back. But Rubio is also a product of immigration, which is fine. And shit that happened 20 years ago, I don't care. It's like I was saying before the show with Dub, is that it's what he does now, and he is the silent one. And that's what's very scary. I mean, some of the backers that he's picked up are pretty scary. I mean, Mike Bickle, who is IHOP, not the Pancake House, IHOP, by the way. Thought to clarify that. But the people that are backing like people like Trump and people like Cruz, they're nuts. It's really scary. I mean, I thought the last election was bad. This is like really nutty.
Yeah. So, if some freak actually wins, I'm gonna have to get donations to buy the house next door for everybody. Because, well, I know, Cash, you stepped away for a minute. When we were in Nashville, like, every fucking person was like, "You're from Canada, so how do I move up there?"
Yeah, exactly. This thing scares me. I'm going to vote tomorrow, my wife and I, and I'm excited, but I so want Bernie to win. And I don't know if everybody agrees with Bernie, but I think he's by far the best choice. I don't know if y'all saw the thing this morning. There's two things Saturday Night Live did on Hillary, where she transforms into Bernie Sanders.
No.
That is just brilliant. Then, go ahead.
I saw the one where the Bernie scares him.
Oh yeah. This is a transformation of her, where they actually make up into Bernie Sanders because she is slowly starting to try to get the millennial crowd. And, and it's hilarious. Saturday Night Live's still on that from Saturday. So
I'll have to look for it.
Then the thing they did on Hillary's on the podium goes, "Where was Bernie Sanders in '93 and '94 when I was going for health care reform?" And immediately they showed on, I believe it was CNN, puts up a video of her on him on C-SPAN, him standing beside her, a little behind, but standing beside her, and she's going, "I want to thank Bernie Sanders for supporting this bill, blah blah blah." And
oh,
what the fuck, you lying?
Ouch!
Yeah.
What pisses me off is, even though if Bernie loses, obviously, if she's the nominee, I'm going to vote for her. But I don't want to.
Yeah. It's so hard.
But at least you've got the right approach. Like, I hear these people, well, if Hillary wins, I'm going to vote Republican. I'm like, what the fuck stupid are you?
Yeah, that's like, that's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, okay, maybe you didn't like, for instance, we just had an election in October, and we had this asshat religious twat in office for 12 fucking years, right? And my thing was, like, we have three main parties to choose from. So asshat was the right. The liberals are actually in the centrist. Okay. And then we got the NDP on the left, right? And now I'm kind of more left of center, but I don't really. I just kind of go with who's honestly the less of evils.
Right.
But RPM had some things that I was like, yeah, I don't know. I voted for the NDP, the leftists, right? But I'm not gonna freak because my guy didn't get in. I'm like, hey, I'm good with Trudeau as long as it's not that fuckwad Harper. Like, get that asshole out of here. I have some concerns about Trudeau, but he's not fucking Harper, so I'm okay. You know, I'm not gonna.
At least Trudeau looks good.
Yes, yes, and he's actually only 3 months older than me. So actually, yeah, because he just turned 44 at Christmas. He's a Christmas Day guy, so maybe he's fucking Jesus. I don't know. But he just turned 44, so he's like 3 months older than me. And I remember growing up seeing his little face on TV all the time. This is like deja vu for me when it's like blah 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 Prime Minister Trudeau. I'm like, whoa, are we back in the 70s now? It's kind of freaky, I gotta admit, but. You know, which, if Hillary does win, that's going to be really fucking weird, let me just say. Because we have President Clinton and fucking Prime Minister Trudeau. Like, what decade am I in?
Yeah,
But,
wait, what decade?
But, you know, if I only had two choices, and if we were doing it sort of your way, there's no fucking way I would have voted for Harper just because my person didn't get nominated, you know? Like... That's just stupid to me.
Well, that goes the whole thing Cash was saying, biting off your nose to spite your face. It's like, there was a video, I can't remember which one I posted. There's one from Tennessee, and I believe there's one from Mississippi, where they, for most people, Mississippi is one of the, if not the poorest state in the country. And they went and talked to a majority of white people, if I remember correctly, about ACA specifically, which is Obamacare. And, you know, why are you voting Republican when Republicans basically, and not all Republicans, are basically wanting to eliminate stuff like food stamps and make it impossible to get. And they're like, basically it boils down to because Obama is black. And which was the point of the video clip. And it's like they asked this one guy, well, you get food stamps, you realize you lose it. And these people have no clue where things like the social welfare system comes from. They don't know that their social security checks come from the government. They don't know that welfare comes from the government. Yeah, it's a state-run program, but it's through the federal government. I mean, it's just biting their noses to spite your face, and it's like you and I were talking beforehand with the fraud. I mean, food stamp fraud is less than 1%.
Well, or we get these idiots that are like, oh, well, so-and-so is against abortion, so I have to vote for them. And it's like, but you'll end up homeless if you do that.
Well, they're one-issue voters. Like, I never went into a lot of that here. In the 16 years I've lived here, it's just basically, yep, I'm voting for this person because this person's against abortion. Well, what's their domestic policy? What the hell is a domestic policy? What have they done for the country?
But hey, we saved some fetuses.
Right.
Yeah, and that's basically, and it's like Cash was saying too, is like with Hillary. I mean, in 1993, what we have now as Obamacare is the Heritage Foundation's reaction to her policy in 93. Bill Clinton put her in charge of the universal health care, and now she's against it. Whether it's the $13.5 million she got from the insurance company, that remains to be seen. But she has flip-flopped on her position, and that's bothersome. I mean, people can change their mind. President Obama did about gay marriage. You know, people can change their mind, but that's an awfully drastic change. And for me, especially in my situation, that's a big deal. You know, like I was saying before the show, most people might not realize it, but Bernie Sanders is, in my opinion, anti-science. He is into the woo. He wants to see Cam. I have a doctor right now suggesting acupuncture for the neuropathy that I have in my arm. And I'm like, it doesn't work. I have studies upon studies. Her reply was, I have studies that show it work. Well, those studies are flawed, and I can show you, you know, reliable sources that tell me that those studies are flawed.
Yep.
Well, there is no peer-reviewed, Beth, peer-reviewed studies that show that acupuncture works. Otherwise, there would be a prize at the James Randi Foundation of $1 million, and probably a Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, I was reading in this article today, they were talking the Splenda article, and he breaks down why this study is flawed for various reasons. And I was telling Deb before the show, is that, do I understand every study that I read? No. But I have sources that I can go to that I do trust.
Right.
That I know these people do, and I'll use Professor Stephen as an example.
Exactly. Yep.
He, I'm 20 years removed from statistics, and I had to take a choice if they could do any indication. But I do understand the basics, and when they post a study, this study is a good study. It's like low. It is low information voters, and that's all within the agenda.
Well, it's sourced, it's peer reviewed. That tells you a lot. When there's a source from stuff like the Blaze or Glenn Beck or my dad, you know that the peer review is weak and minimal at best. So
absolutely.
I don't know. I would be scared if my doctor was suggesting.
It's like in July when I had the original incident. One of the first things she just suggested was, this was like the second or third meeting with her, and she suggested doing chiropractic manipulation on my neck, and I'm like, I possibly had a stroke.
Yeah.
And you want to crack my neck. And the thing is, the bad thing about this Splenda study that that's hitting the news now is that it's in a peer-reviewed article. It's been peer-reviewed, but it's so poorly done. So it's like, you have to really dig, and it's sad that we have to dig for these other sources to find out if something's legitimate or not.
And it's not even just like the medical stuff is bad enough, but I got duped by a news story the other day that said Scientology lost its tax exemption.
Yeah.
That's
And
actually spread on the interwebs?
Yeah, and the site that it came from was made to look like ABC News.
Yes.
And it wasn't even trying to be a spoof or funny. It was written like a legitimate news article, and the URL, the only difference was it was abcnews.com.co. And now I have to look at the fucking URL every time I look at the news. That's
I've been called out on Facebook because I'll post something up that I thought was sourced to a reputable source, and then go, oh god damn, that shit says .co or .nz after it, and I didn't realize it.
I looked at the site, I read the article, I said, well, it sounds, professional, they've got references to facts that I did know, and I'm like, it's ABC News. I'm like, yeah, it should be good. Now, I wasn't surprised when somebody posted the Snopes, only because our friend Robert, who is the ex-Scientologist and does a World Cult Watch, had not posted on it. I would have expected to see something from him immediately, and I kind of went, well, maybe he's busy and he hadn't seen it yet, but it looks good, so I went with it. So,
in Rob's defense, he has been under the weather from my sources, and I don't think you'd be keep him in your thoughts. He underwent surgery. I do not know for what, because I myself have been in the hospital the last week, but
Excuses, Beth.
Yeah. You know what I find funny, though? People say, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. It's like, it's really hard being an atheist because we have to, double check our sources to make sure the shit we're putting out is correct. Where the religionists just say,
well, Jesus told me in a revelation.
It's like I laugh at some of the shit Josh Fierstein posts. He put cross-posts a lot of stuff from Christianity.
You know your Diet Pepsi, because that's all I drink, Diet Pepsi, for 20-something years, and and I see your bottle back there. Did you notice they're now on the bottle it says no aspartame?
Yeah, they caved them in, Harry, and all the other.
That was the food babe. The food babe got them.
Yeah, Vanna Harry. I don't call her the food babe because I think, and I'm going to say this publicly, she's
not
a
babe.
fucking cunt.
Yes,
she's not a babe. She's a fucking cunt.
There you go, food cunt.
Food cunt.
But, yeah, part of the whole. I'm sorry, I don't buy the thing that the government is trying to kill me.
What?
Ashley, that wasn't about you. We were talking about that girl that does the food stuff. Ashley always perks up. You say cunt.
Sorry.
Ashley.
I have trigger words.
What? There's a cunt?
No.
She's like, is there?
She
What's that?
For the show, and she's like, now when you hear these words, I need you to perk up. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a cunt around I gotta go yell at? What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, it's like even today, and in fact, Professor Stephen and I were going back home and posted the pH scale, you know, the 0 through 14, and it was dealing with acid alkaline diet, and Professor Stephen put, I can't remember exactly, but his new pet peeve, and I said ditto. And I've done, what, two episodes and 3 articles on the acid alkaline. I'm like, yep, because a lot of that is, and there was just a recent bust in England, I believe, concerning MMS, and it's just like, but you have to dig and dig and dig into the science, and it's like, yeah, I don't have enough faith? No, it's called, I don't have enough brain cells, is what it comes down to.
The whole idea that, like, the government's gonna, like, throw you in FEMA camps and kill you and like, what would the point be to that? Like, that's why
I just had this conversation, Deb, with my dad this week through email. He knows I have a friend that's is terminal cancer, and my dad sends me this whole alkaline and buy this book and sends me the link to Amazon, and then all these articles on alkalinity and all this in the last 7 days, and one of the I went and looked up the author of the book, and the guy has a website that shows that NASA is fake, that we do live on a flat Earth.
Yep.
I mean, just a wackadoo, okay? And he does have a doctorate, you know, but then it went on and on about the alkalinity and how, you know, the government's trying to keep us down and kill us all, and so I just said, Dad, I don't know enough about this alkalinity shit, and I don't have the time to deal with this right now. I'm busy. I can't do this shit right now. I said, but here, let's talk the facts real quick. And I put fact 1. There's the world population is just going like nuts. So over 7 billion. Okay. Yeah. And I said, and the average age is, I think it was Wikipedia. I think it was 81 or 74 or some shit. I put that on there, and I said, if they're trying to kill us, they're doing a horrible fucking job. They are really fucking up. Their chemtrails ain't strong enough. Something bad is going wrong. The government, this is the problem with the government. You leave it to them and they fuck it up, and they can't even kill us correctly.
I'm surprised he didn't come back while it's the Bilderbergs.
Oh, I could read you his email comeback, and it's the whole convoluted. He called me a liberal wackadoo something. I don't even know why I try to help you. Maybe it's not help. But
I'd be like, well, when did you start? No.
Yeah, you know, I mean, here's somebody with a degree, you know, talking to his son who doesn't have a degree, and you go, how does he round that? How does he justify this bullshit? And he believes it all. You know, he wholeheartedly believes it. And yes, I know this, and yes, I know this. The other day he went back to the hospital because he's still having these heart issues, not like heart attacks, but he's got arrhythmia.
Right.
And they told him he needed surgery, where they go in actually with these little tiny things and they shock just the certain part of the heart. Instead of doing the paddles outside to get the arrhythmia, which means medicine forever, they told him he'd need that. And then he was like, Mom's like, no, you don't need that. You need more vitamin C. Okay? And so she's got him on this regimen for a year, right? Mm-hmm. And it's only gotten worse.
Of course.
Okay, so the other day, Mom is explaining to me that Dad's at the hospital and he's having to go through these tests, or the doctor, not the hospital, the cardiologist. And he's having to go through these tests because it's gotten worse, and he's weak a lot, and he's sleeping a lot, and he's a healthy man. He's a big, healthy man. And she goes, and I said, so the stuff that you were doing not working? And she goes, oh, no, it's working. But see, this is the devil.
Oh, fuck.
So the devil's fucking with the good shit.
Oh.
So even if you do take the right amount of vitamin C and extra oxygenated water, you're fucked if the devil doesn't want it to work for you.
Oh.
So quit going to GNC, turn in your MVP card, and
so, how do you even counter that? You know,
you don't. I laugh, and she thinks I'm what does she call me? Arrogant.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you get that a lot.
Because you're saying that you know more than Jeebus, and you know.
Right.
But doesn't that mean that the devil's stronger than God then?
What? Right. And I pitched her on that before, because when my brother died, I went through a whole deal with her, and that kind of put strains on our family, because I was kind of a dick, because I was so angry about the whole thing, and they were, I said, what good were all these prayers? Why fucking pray for safety and all this bullshit if it's just bullshit, if it isn't going to work, and if the devil can actually take your son without, fuck your prayers, I'm taking your son. So we've had those conversations. They never go well. And then it's months without them talking to me.
Yeah.
And then they'll call up one day and go, hey, did you see they have proven ghosts? They got it on camera, Deb. Don't laugh. They got it on camera.
Oh. I spent 4 years trying to get that shit on camera. How dang it, it's lucky. And we not only had infrared, we had an artificial intelligence camera system that no one else in the fucking planet has, because one of our guys works for the company that created it, and they let us use it. In Waverly Hills, which I'm sure you've heard of it. You heard of that one, Cash?
The what? Waverly
Hills Sanatorium. It's in Louisville.
Oh yeah. I've heard of it, but I don't know anything. I don't know enough about it to speak on it.
We spent the fucking night there with all of this shit, right? Like artificial intelligence behind the camera system. So if the camera saw a movement, it could artificially know to track the movement, and the system you could look at the system, and like any anomaly, pick it out. It would highlight any anomaly in what's in the screen, like that kind of sophistication, right?
Right.
And not a goddamn thing. And this is supposed to be the most haunted building in all of North America, right? Yeah. I even climbed in the fucking morgue drawer, okay?
When I quit believing that shit, Deb, it all went away. But while I believed, and I believed all my life, so moving from non-Christian to still spiritual was not a far stretch for me. I already believed in all the ghosts and goblies. Yeah. And so I just believed in them more. And I thought they were controlling stuff, and lights would come on, and our TV would do this buzzing noise sometimes. And one time our phone rang, and nobody was there. I mean, we had some cool shit happen, and you go, then you quit believing it, and it quits happening. And you go, how much of that shit your mind was just delivering for you?
Yeah, like, and for me, it used to bother me, but like people would say, "Oh, I can see this or feel that, or I can, I can sense things and whatnot," and I'd be like, I don't get it. Where what? Like my old place where I used to live is it was an old building. It's like from the 1840s or some shit. It was like a duplex, and a lot of people had told me that the house was haunted. And like these are people that I trust very much, that are family and whatnot, and they, oh, I seen a ghost, or I could hear this and that happening, and this kind of thing. And I'm like, I've lived there for 15 years and I never saw a goddamn thing, heard nothing, and somebody actually once told me that I had a natural blockage, and I'm thinking now, like, yeah, it's called fucking reason.
In your cameras, they have block.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably had a little bit of doubt.
Yep.
On them, and they didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Ash needs to wake the fuck up.
I am waking the fuck up. I'm listening.
All you see is the top of her, like she's checking her eyelids for leaks.
I'm thinking about what snack I'm going to pick up tonight in the middle of the night when I wake up.
You were doing some research on that. What'd you find out?
Bobby thinks that it's stress related.
Okay.
So, and I mean,
you know what? Tell Bobby that I said to find you some penicillin, and a couple doses of that a day. I do it.
Hey, babe. Cash says a couple of doses of penicillin a day will cure my eating habits at nighttime.
Even 3 or 4 inches worth. Doesn't have to be a bunch.
Shit, no. He just told me that's the whole reason why I got out of bed and got the drugs. For work.
Oh, shit.
All right, you're cut off.
Cut off. And Bob, my wife told me that once. She goes, "I'm cutting you off," and I said, "Well, you let me know how that works once you figure out where I'm getting it." It didn't go over good. I did it as a joke. It didn't go over good. Let me tell you.
I'm thinking maybe not, but
funny now looking back, but
yeah,
it probably wouldn't go over good with Bobby either. So I'll be him as he is leaving.
Well, we're coming up on the 2 hours here now. I don't know how you guys feel. If you guys want to keep going, I'm cool with it. If you guys, yeah.
I've got a daughter that just came into town. One of my little Satanists, Lucifer's young lady. She came into town. She's been living on her own now for 9 months, and she's come back to see us. And so I'd like to go out there and just harass her a little.
That's okay, my friend. We're really glad to have you, and we had a great time hanging out and just shooting the shit. It's kind of good to do a show like that once in a while without any major plans or anything. So
I love that I got to see y'all, and the show has gotten so cool because of your little graphics. Your light quality, Deb, is great because you've got that black background. And then the light is in front of you, so it's really good. It looks good. And Ashley, even though she's sleeping, you can see her. And so and Beth, I love you. Thank you. I think of you. Just know that.
I think it's important that people realize that. I mean, really, you are the impetus for the show. And what I said in the initial email is true. I mean, you, Deb, Dave Foda, and Ashley, and pretty much everybody is what kept me going. And especially now with all the health issues I'm having, it's more important now than it was before. And I think you bring a reality to it that a lot of people don't. I mean, Bobby does a really good job of it, too. And I think that's what the atheist community needs. I mean, we need people like David Silverman, don't get me wrong. We need people like Dan Nugent and Larry Krause, but we need the real, too.
Yeah, but we need Beth, and we need Debs and Ashes.
Yeah, we need everybody.
And you're an important part because here you are with major health issues, and have had some recent stuff that's infected your speech. You've got an eye patch on, and you're not even trying to pull it off with a pirate hat or anything. No parrot. And here's what that does. Yeah. Here's what that does, though, for people. People don't feel ostracized. They don't feel like, oh shit, I gotta be perfect. You know, I can do this, and I can be out. And here we've got people like you who've got a wealth of information to share with others. So I love the fact that you exist, and I love the fact that you're putting out ripples and that y'all didn't give up on it and peter out like I did. So but I'm glad that y'all do it, and I love it. And Bobby and Ashley's stuff, I still even catch that shit. I don't catch it as regular, but I still have it downloaded to my phone. And so when I get a shower, I pick one of the podcasts and I listen. And I love y'all, and I thank you for allowing me to come on.
Oh, anytime. You have an open invitation to come back and tell us more masturbation stories anytime.
And I'll turn red.
Yes, she will. But it's all right. It's good, and we will hopefully have you back on one of these days soon. And I know even this is like a really busy time for you, so we super appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. And
it was my pleasure. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Apparently, I missed one like a month ago, and
that's okay.
I fucked up, so I apologize.
That's okay. We're here, we're now, and that's what counts.
If you need therapy with my fuck-ups, you can talk to my wife. She's used to it, and she's got a whole program that she works with that helps her with that.
Sweet. Well, I'm hoping to, I don't know if you're going to make it down to Reason Rally, but one of these days, you know what, maybe I should just come and stay in your fucking Airbnb, you know?
You'd be welcome anytime.
I know.
Awesome. You're welcome. So, I love it. And you don't have to do it through Airbnb. You just have to tell us, and we'll book it. We'll block it off.
Well, we're going down to Reason Rally, and we're going down to Wedding Con, of course, because you know we have to represent. And we're bringing the bike, I think, on both occasions, as far as I know. So, you know, the Buddhist husband's gonna bugger off and play with the Space Museum, I think, while we're all being heathens out there. But you know.
A Buddhist, though, they're almost there.
I know. Well,
almost there.
He's what I call atheist. Yeah. I actually mentioned it to David Silverman, and he was like, he needs to read my book. So, yeah, which I discussed, and I got a bit of a raised eyebrow, and yeah, he didn't say much, so. Does he actually? Well, you guys both have met him.
Yeah.
He really doesn't say much, so.
No, he doesn't, but when he gets on that mic, boy, whew.
Well, he's never said anything.
Like Cash yelling at Ashley to wake up.
All right, folks. Well, and Cash, Foda sends his regards. He had kind of hoped maybe he could pop on, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to make it. But he did want to send his regards, and you probably don't know, but we close out the show every week with him and his Humanist Creed that he wrote. So you can at least hear that.
I love Dave Foda. He has a brilliant mind and an underappreciated mind.
We're working on that. He's the most appeared guest on the show, so
he figure out how to say pecan, we'll be all right.
Yeah. My wife says pecking.
Yeah. Well, Foda says a pecan is something that you urinate in, probably under the car seat or something.
I never thought about it like that, but I say pecan and pecan. Both of them I understand, but
we say pecan.
Pecan.
It's pecan up here.
Do you say Ashley or do you say Ashley?
Ashley.
Pecan. You don't say pecan. Pecan.
I say Ashley.
I know. You don't say Ashley.
No, but it's yeah, but we're all fucked up. I mean, we have boots and cooches and whatever. Yeah, I don't broadcast from the cooch anymore, at least
The
technically.
cooch.
So.
Broadcasting from the cooch. You'd probably get a lot of followers. Just be a lot of different types.
Well, the first like 20 odd episodes are from the cooch, so you can go back and look at those.
Those are the best ones, I'm sure.
I'm thinking.
Look, you got Beth blushing again.
Yeah.
Talking about the cooch.
I had to bring that. I hope Corinna's still awake, but that's like her favorite thing ever. Is say cooch. Where are you sitting, heretic? Tell me where you're sitting again.
Well, today is Corinne's birthday, so she must still be awake, but
whether she's coherent.
Yeah. Well, she told me she took a nap this afternoon so she could stay up and watch us. So, hi, birthday girl. We'll be seeing you in June.
That's right.
For sure. In fact, we're saying at Wedding Con she wants to do a picture of us shorties with Maley.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, all of us little shorties. But anyway, Cash needs to go harass his daughter, so we'll let him get on out of here, and let's close things out with a humanist creed. And if everybody could mute, and we'll go do that. See, everyone, I'm not sure we're going to have a show next week, only because, number one, I have to go to jury duty that day, and number two, the Shujin Tribble is coming over for dinner on his way home from Vernal Equinox. So we'll play it by ear and see what happens. So hopefully we'll see you next week. And here is Dave motherfucking Foda.
I know the truth and power of reason and of rational thinking, and I will use them to my advantage. I know the truth and power of educating myself and of expanding my intellectual boundaries, and I will educate myself. I know the truth and power of vanquishing ignorance, and I will do so whenever the opportunity presents itself. I know the truth and power of morality without supervision, and of true and accurate righteousness. I know the truth and power of obliterating tyranny, be it intellectual, emotional, or philosophical, and will work toward that goal whenever and however possible. I know the truth and power of human ingenuity. I know the truth and power of human compassion, and I will be mindful of the welfare of others. I know the truth and power of equality and fairness for all living things. I know the truth and power of the importance of our families, our friends, and our fellow men and women. I know the truth and power of human stewardship of our lands, our waters, and our skies, and I will try to act to preserve our environment. I know the truth and power of the sciences of mathematics, of physics, and of chemistry, and of the important role of these disciplines in understanding the workings of this cosmos. I know the truth and power of the rejection of all notions or beliefs that reside in the supernatural or the superstitious, and of those notions or beliefs that we are not supposed to be able to explain. And I know that these rejections are necessary for humankind's survival. I am a human being with a free mind, liberated from irrational influence and from unreasonable dogma.